Welcome to the Story King, where every tale holds a secret. The moment Crown Prince Kieran drew his first breath, thunder cracked across the blood moon sky, and every wolf in the kingdom fell silent. Alpha King Darius stood at the chamber door, his massive frame trembling as the royal physician stumbled backward, face drained of color. Inside, Queen Elara clutched the newborn to her chest, her golden eyes wide with a terror no wolf should ever know. "Say it," Darius commanded, his voice splitting the air like a blade. The physician's hand shook. "Your Majesty, the prince, he bears no wolf scent, no wolf aura. He is—" "Finish that sentence and I'll rip out your throat." But the truth hung in the air like poison. After 18 hours of labor, after prayers to the moon goddess herself, the heir to the Silver Crest throne had been born without a wolf. An abomination, a curse. Darius crossed the room in 3 strides, his alpha presence so overwhelming that even Elara flinched. He stared down at his son, small, pink, painfully human, and felt something crack inside his chest. The boy was perfect in every way except the only way that mattered. "Leave us," he growled. The physician and midwives scattered like rabbits. Only one figure remained in the shadows near the fireplace. A young maid named Thalia, who'd been assigned to the queen's chambers just weeks before. She was unremarkable in every way. Plain brown hair, quiet demeanor, eyes that seemed to see too much and say too little. "You too, girl," Darius snapped. But Thalia didn't move. She stood there, clutching a worn leather satchel to her chest, her gaze fixed on the crying infant. For a moment, something flickered in those gray eyes. Recognition. "Fear? Knowledge?" "My king," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the baby's wails. May I see the prince?" The audacity of it should have earned her execution. A mere maid daring to speak to the Alpha King in such a moment. But something in her tone made Darius pause. Elara too had gone still, watching the girl with sudden, intense focus. "Why?" Darius demanded. Thalia's fingers tightened on her satchel. "Because I've seen this before." The words hung between them like lightning about to strike. "What do you mean?" Elara's voice cracked with desperate hope. "Have you seen other wolfless births? Is there a cure? Can he still shift?" "No, Your Majesty." Thalia took a small step forward, her heartbeat strangely steady despite the raw power radiating from both royals. "I mean, I've seen princes born under cursed moons. Born with their wolves. Hidden." Darius moved faster than thought, closing the distance between them until he loomed over the tiny maid. Any normal wolf would have submitted instantly, throat bared, body trembling. But Thalia held his gaze, unflinching. "Explain," he commanded. "Or die where you stand." She reached into her satchel with deliberate slowness, pulling out an object wrapped in black silk. As she unwound the fabric, candlelight caught on something that made both Darius and Elara gasp. A pendant, ancient and silver, carved in the shape of a wolf's head with eyes of deep purple amethyst. "This belonged to my grandmother," Thalia said quietly. "She was a healer in the northern territories before the Great Purge, before your father killed everyone who practiced the old magic." Darius's claws extended involuntarily. "Choose your next words carefully, Maid. The old magic isn't evil, Your Majesty. It's simply forgotten." She held up the pendant, and the amethyst eyes seemed to pulse with inner light. "Some wolves are born with their beasts locked away, hidden by the moon goddess herself to protect them from dark forces that would consume them whole. Only a key can reveal what's been concealed." "That's a myth," Elara breathed, but her hands clutched Kieran tighter. "The concealed wolves are just stories to frighten children." "Are they?" Thalia's gaze moved to the prince, and her expression softened with something that looked almost like pity, or was it recognition? "Your son was born during a blood moon on the night of the autumn equinox, when the veil between worlds grows thin. He didn't come into this world unprotected, Your Majesty. He came protected too well." Darius felt his heart hammering against his ribs. Everything in him screamed that this was impossible, that the girl was either insane or attempting some elaborate deception. "And yet, if what you say is true," he said slowly, dangerously, "then prove it." Thalia nodded once, as if she'd expected nothing less. "I'll need to hold him." "Absolutely not." Elara clutched the baby closer, but Darius raised a hand, silencing his queen. He studied Thalia with the intensity that had made him the most feared alpha in 5 territories. She was no threat. He could snap her neck with one hand. And if she was lying, if this was some twisted plot, he would make her death last for days. "If you harm him," Darius said softly, each word dripping with lethal promise. I will hunt down everyone you've ever loved and make you watch as I tear them apart. Then I'll keep you alive for centuries, healing you just enough to torture you again. Do you understand? I understand, Your Majesty. Thalia's voice didn't waver, and I accept those terms. Elara made a sound of pure anguish, but slowly, reluctantly extended her arms. Thalia took the prince with surprising gentleness, cradling him against her chest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then she began to hum, a melody so old it seemed to predate language itself, rising and falling like wind through ancient forests. The pendant began to glow. Darius felt his breath catch as Thalia held the silver wolf head over Kieran's tiny chest. The amethyst eyes blazed brighter, brighter, until purple light filled the chamber. The prince's crying stopped abruptly. His small body went rigid. What's happening? Elara lunged forward, but Darius caught her wrist. His own eyes locked on his son, because something was emerging from the baby's skin. Not blood, not injury, but something like smoke made solid, like shadows given form. It coiled around Kieran's tiny body, and within that darkness, Darius could see the outline of something massive, something powerful, something that made his own alpha wolf whimper in instinctive recognition. Impossible, he breathed. The shadow began to take shape. 4 legs, a tail, a massive head with eyes that burned like stars. It was a wolf, larger than any Darius had ever seen, its form crackling with energy that made the air itself ripple. For just a moment, the spirit beast fully manifested, towering over them all, its presence so overwhelming that even Darius felt the urge to submit. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the shadow retreated back into the prince's body. The glow faded. The pendant went dark. Kieran began to cry again, normal, healthy baby cries. Thalia swayed on her feet, her face bone white with exhaustion. Darius caught her with one hand while taking his son with the other, staring down at the infant with a mixture of awe and terror. What was that? His voice came out rough, shaken. His wolf, Thalia gasped, leaning against his arm for support. Ancient, powerful, hidden until the right time when he's strong enough to contain it without being consumed. Why? Elara demanded, tears streaming down her face. Why would the moon goddess hide his wolf? Thalia lifted her head, and in her eyes Darius saw knowledge that had no place in a maid barely 20 years old. Because something is coming, Your Majesty. Something that would have killed him if his true nature had been revealed at birth. The goddess herself has marked him as her champion, but champions must be forged in secret before they can rise. Darius held his son closer, feeling the tiny heartbeat against his chest. Already he could sense it. The power sleeping inside this impossibly small body. The destiny coiled like a spring waiting to unleash. How long? He asked. How long will his wolf remain hidden? I don't know, Thalia admitted. It could be years. It could be decades. But I can tell you this, when it finally emerges, he won't just be a prince. He'll be something the wolf world hasn't seen in 1,000 years. She reached out with trembling fingers and touched the pendant to Kieran's forehead one final time. The amethyst eyes flashed once, and Darius could have sworn he heard a voice, ancient, feminine, infinite, whisper through his mind. Protect him. Trust her. The darkness comes on swift wings. Then the moment passed, leaving only silence and the soft crackling of the fire. Darius looked at the maid, this strange, impossible girl who'd just changed everything. Who are you, really? A ghost of a smile touched Thalia's lips. Just a maid, Your Majesty. One who happens to carry her grandmother's secrets. She pulled away from his supporting arm, steadier now. You'll need to announce the prince's birth soon. The court will ask questions. Let them ask. Darius felt his alpha authority snapping back into place like armor. My son was born perfect and strong. Anyone who says otherwise will answer to me. They'll sense the truth, Elara warned. The lack of a wolf scent. Then we mask it. Thalia reached into her satchel again, pulling out a small vial of silver liquid. 3 drops in his milk every day until his wolf awakens. It will give him the scent of a dormant wolf pup. Nothing more. No one will know the difference. Darius took the vial, studying it with suspicion. But what choice did he have? His son's life, his future, his entire legacy hung in the balance. You'll stay, he commanded, here in the royal chambers. As the prince's personal attendant, Thalia bowed her head. As you wish, Your Majesty. And Thalia? Darius waited until she met his eyes. Something passed between them in that moment. Not trust, not yet, but the beginning of something that might become it. Thank you. She smiled, sad and knowing. Don't thank me yet, Alpha King. What I've done tonight isn't salvation, it's simply postponement. The forces that want your son dead don't care about hidden wolves or protective magic. They care about prophecy, and your son has just become the center of one that will shake the foundations of every pack in existence. What prophecy? But Thalia was already moving toward the door, her satchel clutched close. Ask the Moon Priestess. She's been waiting for this night since before you were born. Before Darius could demand more answers, she was gone, leaving only the faint scent of herbs and old magic in her wake. He looked down at Kieran, his perfect, impossible hidden son, and felt his heart swell with a fierce, protective love he'd never known he was capable of. Whatever was coming, whatever darkness threatened his heir, Darius would face it. He would tear apart the world itself before he let anyone harm his child. But as he held the prince close, as Elara wrapped her arms around them both, Darius couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them from beyond the veil. Something ancient and patient and utterly ruthless. And somewhere in the depths of the castle, in a chamber locked and warded and forgotten, a mirror of black glass began to crack. Through those cracks, something whispered with a voice like breaking bones. The hidden prince has been born. Send the hunters. Send them all. The real test had only just begun. This is the story, King, where legends are born and secrets wait to be discovered. Subscribe for more tales that will leave you breathless.